What's good, family? Dun, dun, dun. Hello, hello. What are you guys doing? Or rather, what do you think you're doing? Coming into my stream, chatting in my chat, while I'm sitting here comfortably naked. I didn't expect 100 of you to just walk in here like this. You didn't even knock. Boom. Tweeted. Tweeted on Twitter. Twatted on Twitter. How does he do it? Sleeby BB, thank you. Kristen, Brittany, all these beautiful green names. Fry's here, holding down the mod position, head mod. Should I promote Fry to head mod? To head fry cook? Do I go in FIFA? Can I be bothered? I don't use FIFA or play FIFA. I never have. And I don't know if you mean like during the stream. But yeah, the stream, we just read spooky stories and bullshit. And stories and bullshit. And stories and bullshit. Aaron, that's what I like to hear, baby. That's what I like to hear. Zane, you're trying to become a usual. Well, that's why we like our regulars around here. Well, I was on the cusp. I was like, should I stream? Should I not? Because let me tell you, my sleep schedule is fudged. Fudged right in the budge. How am I doing today? I'm doing good. I'm so well rested that I'm overly rested. But it was kind of... You can blame, not that there's really anything to blame about too much sleep, but you can blame my lack of productivity, my lack of starting the stream at a decenter time on Little Nightmares 2. I don't know if you guys have played Little Nightmares 1, but the second one just came out last night, or today rather. And I played through that. I actually played through the entirety of that game on stream in Discord. So if you were one of the lucky few to join the Discord and hang out with me while I played through that entire 5-hour to 6-hour campaign, thank you for being here. And Laura with the 2 says, hey, I'm walking now. Doing well. How are you? Oh, nice. I'm glad to hear that, Laura. I know you've been going through a long recovery process, so I'm good to hear you walking. And initially, the first word I saw was like walking and doing, and I thought you said you were walking your dog. But hopefully, the walking the dog process will be catching up here soon. Carrie with the 5 Canadian maple syrup dollars says, happy you decided to stream. Well, thank you, Carrie. Happy you decided to be here. And I'm happy I decided to stream. Why do I hate my audience? I don't hate my audience. I love my people. Sometimes they try to pull me into the mud pit and get me all nice and sloppy. But that's okay. We all gotta wrestle at some point. Saints has been wanting to draw you, but I can't really come up with an idea of exactly to draw. Any suggestions or something like that? Well, I don't mean... You're seeing it right on screen right there. Me sitting on that asteroid. Just watching the other meteors pass by. counting down the minutes here, 14 minutes until we start. Hope that gives you some inspiration. Just having a deep thought in deep space. You thought I was traveling this week? I don't remember. Did I say that? Maybe you mixed me up with Spirit Airlines. $15 for a flight on a paper airplane. Sorry, I got shit in my throat. Oh yeah. That's not a bong, by the way. That's me gargling water. Everyone always says, that's a bong. That's a bong if I ever heard one. Because we all gargle bong water. Fry, delete that now. Man has the deepest voice. Thanks. Try my best. What if we liked high-pitched voices? Does anybody like really, really high-pitched voices? Do I have any favorite YouTubers? Not really. I feel like I kind of get like... I'm just like all over the place when it comes to watching stuff. I don't really get too caught up on certain personalities. I find myself like watching... Sometimes like lately watching like gameplay montages. Like, you know, I like watching Overwatch shit. So I was watching Shader 2K play Overwatch. Some of his montages are funny. I'm actually a member on Dr. Disrespect's live stream. But the funny thing is I don't really watch his live stream all that much because I'm not like a huge Call of Duty guy, but I do like his energy. And I love it whenever he takes pictures of me in the bathroom, you know. Just kidding. But, I don't know. I like watching Red Letter Media sometimes, but I feel like I enjoy it more when I've seen what they've watched, but I don't watch enough to actually, like, consistently see what they've seen, so it's, like, not as, like, relatable. But I do enjoy their personalities and their sort of, like, self-aware, self-deprecating sense of humor. What's my favorite song at the moment? This one right here, baby. Custom made for the channel. For you. Sea Shanties with the Boys. I'll take that every day. That's my favorite song. I think it would actually be a lot of fun to like sing sea shanties in some sort of group. Yo ho da hey da ha da ho da hey da ha da hey. We killing whales and we're sticking bales and we're picking up the hay. I don't know. You want a toe pick? Just want which toe? Which piggy do you want to see go all the way home? Miss Molly with the 5 dollies. Says Joel, my love. Perfect timing. I just finished watching the latest H3H3 podcast. Oh, nice. How are you evening? What's that boy talking about? Was that on YouTube? I'm going to look at his... I used to watch a lot of H3H3. Oh, they just changed it to the H3 podcast. I wonder if he got rid of his old channel. David Dobrik debate, Free Britney, Ben Shapiro calls in, blah, 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 blah. Alright. He's got David Dobrik on a lot. David Dobrik is a bully and Gorilla Glue gone wrong. Lol. Too much Gorilla Glue to go around lately. That's what I use on my hair anymore. It's just been such a mess. I gotta glue it down with industrial adhesive. What's my fave music? You know, I like synthwave stuff. I like hip-hop, chill-hop, anything with a beat, really. I like jazz. I like experimental electronic music. I don't really like pop music that much, but there are some songs that stick with me. I talk a lot of shit on Drake, but I realize that there's always at least like 2 or 3 of his singles from his like new albums that I'm like, huh, I just realized I've listened to this shit on repeat like 5 times, and I didn't even know it was fucking Drake, even though I should have known that was Drake. So, maybe I am a fan of Drake and I don't even know it. But I try not to be, and I don't know why. I think because I'm just so mainstream. Why an astronaut? Why astronaut? Why? Well, Mr. Nightmare, we're going to have to put you on timeout, mister. Maybe you should put out some more content and I'll answer your question. Am I married? I am not married, nor do I have a GF. Just living my best life here. It's a little hard. The dating game's a little hard nowadays, I'm sure, as many of you can relate. Talia, thank you. Thank you for stopping by. It's good to see you. Intrusive thought of the night. Your bones are wet right now. Oh my god, you're right. It is kind of weird to think, yeah, like, just all the particular things that, like, grow ever so correctly when developing your body. Just weird. Liz, you got class tomorrow. Congratulations. You better get an A or you're in trouble, Missy. Any V-Day plans? Any WAP appointments? Oh man, the day is full of WAP appointments to see weaponized assault penguins non-stop. I'm fending them off. It's a little dark in Joel's basement, says Johnny Sins. Hey Johnny, you better get back to work making content for me. How's Pradeep? Pradeep is good. He, oh, he's over there in the corner. I, forgot that he was in the room, but he's over there. I have this one, inflatable mat. It's kind of weird. But basically on it, it has a bunch of, pin points, kind of not acupuncture necessarily, but you, lay on it, and, you know, from that's, poking you, it increases, blood flow to your muscles. But Pradeep has... I flipped it over the one time, and Pradeep has officially turned it into his new sleeping mattress. So that's what he's on right now. See, Pradeep's in the chat, too. He's on it. I can't see it, but he's on his phone over there, saying, I like the corner. He likes to keep an eye on me. Imagine 5,000 years in the future, there's going to be a True Scary Stories in space. This is potentially very true. There's going to be an Elysium where I reside. Me and my future consciousness and or great-grandchildren, still reading stories, still having the worst sleep schedule. Is YouTube your full-time job? It is. This and podcasting is my world. What's my favorite food truck place? I'd say falafel, but the one time I got falafel and I was drunk, I fucking puked everywhere. So that was, you know, maybe it's still falafel, I don't know. Can't hold him accountable to that degree. Drew, the Sneak Snake, with a $20 big donation of the night here. Thank you, Drew. It's good to see you. That's a new name, too. I don't think I've seen Drew the Sneak Snake before. Welcome, my friend, and thank you for the kind, generous dono. You could win the Elon Musk thing and actually do Scary Stories in Space. Yeah, is he doing a little competition to see who can take a wild ride on his red rocket ship? What's going on there? Pradeep, when I die, you're taking over the channel. You know what? I gotta get you in my will somewhere. Besides just inheriting all of my sweatshirts to lay on. Turn the music off? Question mark. 5 minutes, Bishel the Bush. And we will kick to reading spooky stories in Spooky Story World. Don't you worry. We're going to set the mood for it. It's going to be a big, big emotional change, and I hope you can handle it. Who's my favorite twink? Like Twinkie? Like Twinkie flavor? Can I say more things in Spanish? Oh, yes. El gato. You know, I realized yesterday when I was in the Discord chat, we have some native native Spanish speakers. in the chat. Sorry, I got distracted here. And I realize I can't roll my R's at all, which is kind of sucks. I tried it. Do I listen to metal? I do sometimes when I'm weightlifting. I took off this week. I did like this competition for charity this past weekend, and oh my god, I kicked my ass so bad that going into this Monday, I just did not feel prepped and ready to go. So I just have been taking 9,000 depression naps in a row. Arian Landreth, you also can't roll your R's. I just I can't do it consistently where I'm able to make it rock, you know what I mean? Try to roll the R in your name. Sugar butt. I'm sure that there's eventually you find a muscle memory with it, but I definitely need some practice for sure. Raul. Do I listen to Eurobeat? I have never heard of Eurobeat. Is that an artist or is that a subgenre? I have to loosen my tongue. Really gotta loosen it up. Frozen hot chocolate. How have you been? I've been sub since 100k subs. Love the stories. And it's the most expensive dessert. Damn. Well, thank you for being here since 100k. We've come a long way. Aaron Wilson with the 2 says, favorite metal band minus Slayer. Damn. I mean, I've always put on, when I'm lifting, I put on Lamb of God Radio. That definitely hits the spot, but I gotta be honest with you, I can't really tell the difference between a lot of them. I'm just there for the fucking energy. Raw. It just helps you get in the right mindset, you know what I mean? Do I speak any other languages you study? I studied German back in high school, but that's been... It's been a long time since I've spoken German. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Ja, bitte. Ein bisschen. Melanie, Pantera. Ruh-roh. Yeah, going to those kinds of shows, pretty fucking intense. Lamb of God. Fear the penguins. The weaponized assault penguins. Trying to get buff with me. I feel that. Sometimes, there's really no better feeling than a nice workout. What is the most embarrassing thing you did in middle school? Middle school? Man, so many experiences. I remember one time I went up and asked a girl out on the fucking lunchroom announcement area. They had a microphone up there, so I went up and asked this one girl out, and she was embarrassed and walked out. It was pretty funny. But then later she had said yes. But it was during that time where it was you're asking people out that you didn't actually know that well. And then you realize once you're dating, you're fuck, we don't even have anything in fucking common. This is awkward as shit. And then you're broken up 3 days later and heartbroken. Oh God, you're heartbroken. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. We're gonna kick this off, guys. But yeah, we got 9 house party stories. Oh, the timer just reset. That's pretty funny. To an hour. I guess we're got another hour to chill. But yeah, guys. Let me switch this over to our spooky stories tab here. But thanks again for being here. Yeah, we got 9 house party stories. Got quite a few of these house party stories coming, so you probably will eventually see a volume 2 of this as well. And yeah, it's blanky mode. So thanks again for being here. Click like if you haven't already. Share this stream out with Grandma, as always. As always, wake her up, shake her awake, scream, say, Grandma! Grandma! She's like, what? What? Darling. Darling. Everyone's grandma calls him darling. Let's read a streamer! And then you play Pantera to the point where you can't hear her screaming or slipping and falling down the stairs. You guys are just... Oops, I just bashed into my microphone there. It's a quesadilla. Quesadilla. Make yourself some quesadillas. The god of Pez with the 5 says, hey, listen, Joel. Here is more catnip funds for Pradeep. Or if you're feeling selfish, you can buy yourself a power bar, you stud. Thank you, Pez. Pradeep could use some of that catnip to give him some energy. He's just been nip-napping all gosh darn day, but I feel his pain. Yeah, dig Grandma out of that grave, wake her up. And we're going to kick this off. Hope you guys enjoyed the finalized Valentine stories last time. Few of them were a little out there. Hopefully these ones are just as wet and wild. Now you're craving a quesadilla. Your dad says a case of beer for quesadilla. Hey, give me a case of beer. Case of beera. That sounds like a dad thing to do. Oh, Daddy. Oh, Daddy dearest, I've got you your case of beer as requested. More voice impressions. You know, I'm not much of a man for... I ain't much of a man for impressions. I don't really know what else to say, but I think we should just kick this off. What I am going to do tonight is, because it seems as if, though, the fucking fan on the computer, I really need to get it. I just need to build a new PC. But the fan on the computer is just popping off here with background noise. A case of dildos. A big one from Amazon. Probably going to record 10 seconds of silence before every story, so if you hear me go silent, that's most likely what I'm doing there. Okay. Like I said, we got 9 here. Let's rock and roll. Back when I was a senior in high school, a buddy of mine's parents went on this anniversary trip down to the Florida Keys for a weekend, leaving him as the sole occupier of their 3-bedroom house. His older sister was off at college, so he literally had the entire place to himself. So, he did what any self-respecting teenager does when faced with that kind of situation. He threw a house party. And not just the kind where 2 dozen or so of your closest friends come over for some drinks. He threw a rager, the kind of party that half our entire high school managed to get an invite to. I mean, not everyone made it, but there was at least 200 people there at the very minimum. The old house was bouncing, for real. Now, I know people were playing fast and loose with the kinds of people they told about the party. There was no planning involved, basically, and my buddy wasn't the kind of guy to put the effort into making sure only a select bunch of people got it, so he basically just was like, bring all y'all's friends over, to everyone he knew on Facebook. So people we'd even known... Oops. Danette with the 5. Thank you, Danette. What's happening? Thank you. The horny orca, yeah. He's just humping the ocean, filling it with more salt. So people we didn't even know just showed up like, oh yeah, I know, XYZ, etc., etc. And whoever opened the door to them would just be like, whatever, and let them inside. This turned out pretty cool for the most part, and we ended up meeting some pretty decent randoms as a result. But not everyone that showed up was cool or there to just chill, and we ended up learning the hard way that you don't just throw out invites to your house party unless you want some bad hombres to show up once in a while. So, the party was in full swing, music is pumping, people were drinking and dancing, It was an awesome time. Then, some drama apparently kicks off in an upstairs bedroom when one of the randoms that showed up gets caught stealing by someone who knew my buddy. This person is being an all-around good guy by taking it personally and wanting to keep our buddy's house safe, so he starts telling this random thief to leave the party before he gets knocked out. These guys are stepping to each other. The thief's boys step in, but they're outnumbered by everyone at the party, so they just went back down and headed for the front door to the house. But as they're leaving, this mutual friend of ours is walking them out, talking smack, telling them he does MMA and they're smart not to mess with him, etc., etc. Just drunk guy stuff, you know. He was probably showing off in front of his girl or something too, who knows. Anyway, the guy walks them all the way out, opens up the front door, then sings, "Na na na na, hey hey hey, goodbye," song like in their faces before he slams the door behind them. Now, I didn't see this next part, so I'm just telling you guys what I've been told happened. Apparently the guy stands in front of the door, fists on hips, puffing his chest out in some Superman pose like, "Yeah, I kicked these idiots out. Get me." People were literally clapping for the dude like he was some kind of hero, and then out of nowhere, people just start hearing these cracking sounds coming from the street outside before our hero just slumps to the carpet. One of the sleeves. Jesus, do they shoot at the fucking house? What the fuck? Na 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 na, hey hey hey, MMA. Guys, let's spam the chat. One of the thieves we just kicked out turned out to have a gun on it. Jesus Christ. Play hat 7 minutes in heaven. 7 minutes in herpes. One of the thieves we just kicked out turned out to have a gun on him, and he was so angry at the way our buddy just tried to humiliate him that he pulled it out and fired it right at the front door. He ended up shooting this guy 4 times in the back and neck. We immediately called 911, got the guy on a stretcher pretty quick, but one of the bullets nicked an artery or something, and although they got him to the hospital in good time, he didn't make it. The shooter handed himself in to the police the next day. Apparently he had no idea that there was anyone still behind the door and just wanted to damage some property while scaring the people still inside. He had no intention of actually hurting anyone, and through some sort of plea bargain, I know he managed to pretty much get off with second-degree murder or something. Basically, he'd get a super lenient sentence. And this all happened about 14 years ago too, so I'm pretty sure that guy is getting out soon. And that scares me way more than knowing that there's a dude who murdered someone at a party that I was at. And he's just free to walk around the city like the thing he did wasn't even that big of a deal. Like how he is supposed to just act like nothing happened all those years ago. Does he just try and forget? Because although I'm really glad I didn't actually see anyone get shot, it's not something I've ever forgotten, and nor am I likely to. And honestly, my biggest worry right now is bumping into this guy in the grocery store or something. I'm not sure I'll be able to hold it together if I see him. Here's hoping he decides to make a fresh start someplace else. That's what I'd do. I just wouldn't be able to hang around the same old people, knowing I murdered one of them. Let's just be glad this channel's not Let's Sing. I know, dude. I am not a singer. I'm not a singer, I'm a reader. I wish I could sing, it'd be sweet. But, alas, I am tone deaf. Am I a party person? You know, it was weird. It was like, when I was in late high school, I never went to parties, or if I did, it was very I was very anti them or something like that, you know. It's kind of stupid, but I guess it kept me out of trouble at that time. But then in college, I still was kind of that way. But I definitely always had the perspective that when I went to parties, house parties were either the coolest shit ever or really, really lame. And, but then, as you get older and you're 21, and then drinking as like a social activity is kind of relegated to like bars and things of that nature, unless people have, you know, larger get-togethers at like each other's places. I realize that house parties are far superior when it comes to like socialization with the mixture of like alcohol and stuff like that. Obviously, you want everyone to be of age or whatever, but I realize the overall experience at a house party is substantially more like laid back and a lot more like, oh, who do you know here, you know, kind of thing. So it's like you could walk up to somebody and talk to them and it would be totally fine, you know. But at like a bar, and especially now, you're pretty much like stuck with your group, you know. You can't really venture out. Like now it's like people think you're gonna, you know, sneeze the Black Death on them or something like that, but they pretty much thought that anyways prior to that, because when, you know, even before all this kind of stuff, like you would walk over to another group to chat with them and you would get looked at as a weirdo, or, you know, so you kind of just had to stick with your group. Not like always, but yeah, house parties were definitely way better than bars back in the day, but, you know, now you're just kind of can't really do them anymore. Do I have any tattoos? Just on the lower back. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Tramp stamp. You're my wonder wall. Se bonita. I feel like I can kind of hit some of the Spanish stuff, but like, I don't know, listening to the native Spanish speakers that chat with and stuff, and it's like they just have a certain accent to it that I can't quite nail, you know what I mean? And it makes sense, you just got to be around it for a while, but especially the rolling R's, I can't even like pretend to know how to do that. So how old am I? I'm 30. So I'm kind of like, you know, there really would, I mean, sometimes like if someone has like a Halloween party or something, that might be like a house party that someone could go to at like an older age and have a good time, but it's like not very common anymore once you make it to like past 21, 22. Losa. I'm gonna say Yoshi in Yoshi's voice. Wow. Can you get an awa? Alright, gonna start story number 2. I've got a good Spanish accent. Yeah. Who knows, maybe there's a place that speaks Spanish that doesn't necessarily hold to the rolling R's quite as strongly. Maybe a little bit more loose with it. I ended up getting invited to this pretty wild house party back when I was a teenager. Definitely the craziest party I'd ever been to. It was oh wait, shit, I forgot I had to record 10 seconds of silence to like, my thought is like if I get 10 seconds of silence before, you know, of recording before every story, and then I go through them and find which one has the highest frequency when it comes to the background fan, I'll pick that one as like the one so that hopefully you can't really hear that in the background of the noise, because sometimes they go to remove background noise and it just doesn't quite do away with the really high-pitched frequencies, which kind of sucks. Wieners. Liz, you're having a party? Nice. Are we all invited? What's my nationality? I'm from the United States. 30 is the new 95. I know, I've got a foot in the motherfucking grave right now. I ended up getting invited to this pretty wild house party back when I was a teenager. Definitely the craziest party I ever been to. It was good while it lasted, but the reason it sticks out in my memory is far from a good one, as I'll get to explaining. So like I said, this house party was off the wall. There were kegs in all the dorm stairs. There were like kegs in all the downstairs rooms. People were getting naked and dancing in the backyard. Some dudes upstairs tore down a bedroom wall with a sledgehammer. It was literally insane. Now, with a party that intense, it's not entirely unusual for a bathroom to be full of puke with random people like passed out all around the party. And the dude I really noticed was lying on the couch in the TV room downstairs. I figured he must have really overdone it, because the whole time I'm there, he's completely passed out, like to the point where he just sort of became part of the furniture in there, like he's claimed the couch to himself. In the end, people just let him be and the party continued. People dancing around him, walked around him, drank around him, all night too. At the end of the night, I was way too drunk to call an Uber, so I figured that I'd just pass out in an upstairs bedroom and make my way home in the morning. So I have a terrible hangover sleep, wake up, gather my stuff, and head downstairs. On the way out, I gotta pass this dude who was wiped out on the couch all the previous night. It didn't look like he moved all night, and that just didn't sit right with me. So on the way out, I try to wake him. And have you ever touched someone only to realize that they're actually dead? Jesus, why is my voice had a crack at that point? Jim from the office is staring at me. Oh my god. He's giving you that I am the voice of reason look. Hello, audience. Isn't the rest of my cast and crew rather zany? Let me be the face that makes you say, how did we get this way? Oh my god, I'm Jim from the office. I'm every girl's favorite dude, because I don't say anything funny. I immediately yelp. Okay. Na 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 na. Hey hey hey. Fuck Jim. Okay, have you ever touched someone only... Okay, here we go. Joel el Tequero? What's that mean? I am the taco. Have you ever touched someone? Fuck. Have you ever touched someone? Hey, have you ever touched someone? Have you ever touched someone only to realize they're actually dead? They really do go cold, and they really do go stiff. And I promise you, it's one of the most mind-breakingly awful things you'll ever experience in your life. I immediately yelped when I feel how cold this dude's skin was, which then has a few other sleepy people filing into the TV room to see what the deal is, which was basically me begging people to call 911 because there was a dead guy on the couch. It really messed people up. Mainly because, like I said, we were dancing and drinking and partying around this dude's possibly dead body like all night. And there he was, lying in the exact same position he passed out in. There was no telling at what point he'd actually slipped away. No telling just how long we'd been partying around an actual corpse. I heard it was an overdose, but never really got that confirmed by anyone. Like I barely knew anyone at the party, just that there were good people and it was a real shame how one of them went out. I'm extra careful around drugs and alcohol now too, and I tell my kids that if they want to go into drinking or smoking or whatever... Wait, fuck. Na 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 na. One touch from me makes people go stiff. Weekend at Bernie's vibes, yeah. What is touch? Stiff like old bread, oh my god. Moldy too. I'm extra careful around drugs and alcohol now too. And I tell my kids if they want to get into drinking or smoking or whatever they want to do, that they do it safely. I know I can't stop them from misbehaving, especially what age they're at, and it's not even the substance I'm worried about them touching. I just never want any of my kids to have to know what it feels like. Touching flesh that's gone cold. Looking at someone's face and knowing they're no longer with us. I don't want them to know what death feels like. Cheesy tacos, is that what taquero? Group vote, tacos hard or soft? Flaccid or erect tacos? Your boyfriend forgot to call you tonight? I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully he doesn't forget to call you on Sunday. When it's Valentino's Day. Valentino's Pizza Day. Well, no, his body was, it wasn't instantly cold. His body was like dead overnight, I guess, which is why it was cold, I guess. I don't really know. Cafe Rio or Chipotle? I've never eaten at Cafe Rio. That sounds like some shit you find in an airport. Have I ever tried pupusas? What's that? Let me look that up. Pupusas. The poo-poo sauce. Masa cakes with spicy. Oh, okay. Is it like soft bread or some shit with... Looks like little pizzas. Hey, it's a little pizzas. Little El Pizzayos. Oh, te quiero means I like you. Oh, nice. It's not something you eat. I just assume every Spanish word is a food. Mr. J. Hard tacos. This man needs to be cultured. Somebody take him to a airport taco place immediately. How do you join Discord? Yeah, there's a link for you. Lila got you. Mexican calzones. That's actually, I feel like that would be pretty good. I fucking love Chipotle though. Also, I didn't realize how convenient it was when you order Chipotle online. You can just like wander in and you don't even have to like talk to anybody. You just go up to like the bin where they have like to-go orders. And I was thinking like, if I was a homeless dude, or perhaps someone that didn't want to follow the rules, I could just walk up and take these burritos, and none of the college students working behind the desk would ever notice nor say anything, you know? Now, granted, I guess you wouldn't be able to get away with it for very long, because eventually they would, someone smart enough would create a correlation once they got a complaint. But say you were a nomadic individual who just went from Chipotle to Chipotle, wandering from one pickup place to the next. Think about all the free burrito you could get. What's my favorite animal? I mean, I love dogs for sure. Cats are good too, but I only say that because, Ooh, cats are good. Pussy cats. Holy shit, Carrie is here. She is slamming down the chips with the 50 big Canadian maple syrup poutine dollars. Thank you, Carrie. Holy hell. Just a fucking making it rain on me all the time. Warming up my twerk muscles. They were starting to get a little... lacking a little bit of tone, and now they're right back. The sugar mama for sure, yeah. Thank you. Carrie, I really appreciate that. Holy hell. The Genghis Khan of Chipotle, yeah. I am here to plunder your burritos. I will take what is mine for free. You work for DoorDash and you always thought it was way too easy to pick up from Chipotle. I mean, it definitely feels like an honor system. Like, it almost like reminds me of like those fucking, you know, those like little take a book, leave a book things you see around like the local library projects where it's like, you know, you can come in and take a book and then, you know, leave a book, and I don't know, it's just like the community's little project there. I'm like, that's essentially what it is. You just take a burrito, leave a burrito. Thank you again, Carrie. Thank you. Holy shit, that's very kind of you. Thank you. How tall am I? I'm 5'10". 2 inches off the dateable threshold, as they say. Oh, there's Pradeep. Here to bother me. Here to be a bothersome... His head got... like, instantly as he comes over, his like head gets caught in a cord and he freaks out. Like, I'm a cat and everything I do is insane. Oh, now he's laying down. He's changed his ways. I look pale in the animated thumbnail. Which one's that? I must have not tanned that day. Why aren't you 6 foot? Why aren't you 6 foot? You know what? I only date 7 foot girls. How about that? If you're not literally a female Bigfoot and wandering the tundra covered in fur, I want nothing to do with you. 5'10" can donate sperm, just saying. What does that even mean? Is that like a stipulation for like a BioLife place or something? You're 5'8" and you feel too tall to date? No, I mean, tall girls, like, is that what it, or do you mean, yeah, Beth, yeah, I mean, I think tall girls are attractive, even if a girl was like, if we vibed, and it wasn't like, because it's usually the girls that have, like, these really stringent standards for dating dudes as far as their height goes, like, I wouldn't care if a girl was taller, as long as she was cool, as long as I didn't have to go on my tippy toes for kissies. Northern Alberta for your forest temptress. I might have to go out there. That's what most of those Bigfoot hunters are doing. They're out there looking for their woman. My lady of the jungle. 5'11", all legs. All volleyball, baby. I feel like the one cool thing about being, like, not super tall, like, for weightlifting is, like, your not to talk about this shit again, but just, like, your hinges, you know what I mean? Like, the leverages that you have with, like, weights and stuff is a little bit easier. I mean, I know people that are tall can get a lot, you know, definitely can get stronger, but sometimes it's like you don't have to cover quite as much distance when lifting, so to speak. You want to be able to step on your man. Liz, we all know that. You are very dangerous to the male population. Have you seen Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil? Oh yeah, she's the big-tittied goth mistress, like 8 foot tall. So she's a vampire, right? Or some shit? I'm just confused, like, how the story in that game works. Like, because I keep imagining Resident Evil has some sort of congruent storyline that makes some sense, but it just seems like it's just kind of like, hey, see you, Mr. Nightmare, take care. It just seems like it grabs, like, you know, random bits of folklore and, like, pretend, you know, makes it real through some form of, like, sci-fi. "7 feet tall, like the Big Show." The Big Show. In high school, there was this kid that was a super good student, quietish, didn't really have the reputation for partying, and wasn't necessarily considered a part of the crowd that did party. Anyway, some of the party kids found out that his parents were going out of town for the weekend, and under the guise that they wanted to be his friend, messed up, I know, convinced him to have a party at his house. Come the weekend, and the kid gets talked into throwing parties both Friday and Saturday nights. First party goes down without a hitch. It was fun. People weren't too reckless. All was good. Second party, same story, only this time, some of those terrible kids that talked him into throwing the parties steal thousands of dollars from his dad's super expensive computer equipment. Apparently he worked in some form of software engineering or something. The kid didn't realize until the stuff was long gone, and he had no idea who'd taken it because there were all kinds of people he didn't know just walking around his parents' house like they owned the place. And by that point, the house itself was completely trashed. Like spray paint on the walls, all the bathrooms are like a maelstrom of puke and urine and other stuff, and the front porch of the house was completely broken away because a bunch of people decided to stand on it and jump up and down in unison until it broke. Anyway, from what I heard, mediocre bit with the 20 says warm hands are an important requirement. Hey, I can wear gloves. Fear not. Thank you, Mediocre Bit, with the 20. I appreciate that. Wait, Lila's throwing a party? What in the world? Thank you, Mediocre. Thank you. And Carrie with the 5 says, can we do party stories again between June 4th to the 9th? Yeah, just straight up. I guess I could hold off on them for a while to do volume 2. See what we can come up with. Thank you for the 5. But that will be party week for sure. A maelstrom of puke. Yeah, that's a little bit extra. I feel like he was like holding that in for a while. Can I say, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Hey, listen.
Partied in the woods. Yeah, a lot of people partied in the woods. I remember one time there was some party going on in the woods in high school, so I don't know when the fuck that was, if I was a sophomore or junior or some shit, and like, I just remember we bought a bunch of candy from the candy store, which is actually a grocery store, Zaddy Zoll. And the printer that printed out the type of candy it was, I put the cheapest candy ever that was on it, but it was pretty obvious that it was filled with like multiple pounds of the complete opposite candy. And thankfully the person that worked the desk that day did not care. She was just some young girl who was like, okay. But anyways, after that we went out into the woods to some party, but ended up, it was like, not everyone showed up because it was so far deep into the woods and started so late that like me and a friend like left early because it was just like, this is stupid, let's get the fuck out of here. But then like other people stayed, but then they ended up getting lost going back to the camp because all they had was like their cell phone lights and like apparently no sense of direction. And then for like the next like 3 hours, my friend said that they were just like meandering through the woods trying to find their way out to a road, which I'm kind of happy I left when I did, with my candy in tow. My favorite memory from band camp. One time at band camp, I stuck my wiener in a tuba and somebody blew on the one side. Best feeling ever. How do you think I got this one so bouncy? Joel in the Wild, yeah. Will it be your Valentine? You damn straight. Ever tried acid? 3 years ago. Maybe more. On my birthday, 2017, I took a microdose. Not my favorite. Not the worst either. But kind of wouldn't advise it. Kind of would. I don't know. My age is showing. Because I love candy. Or no, because of band camp. Acid and H.P. Lovecraft stories? That might throw me over the edge. Have I seen the grapefruit technique? I think so. I think that's how they teach people how to hang on to a man, get him to never leave. Anyway, from what I heard, there comes a point where all the people in the backyard start seeing someone climbing onto the roof of the house from an upstairs window. Because he climbed out near this big old tree, they figured he's going to jump from the roof to the tree and start like chanting to encourage him to make the jump. Apparently this person just stares down at the people in the backyard, then turned and jumped off the roof. Only they weren't aiming for the tree. They were just looking to jump off the third-floor roof, face first onto the concrete below. It was the kid who had been talking. Oh, God. It was the kid who'd been talked into having the house parties. He was so distraught at what his parents would do, how disappointed they'd be, that he decided to take the easy way out and just jump off his own roof. Like, I know his house was destroyed, but dear God, I can't imagine being so torn up about it that I'd actually try and off myself. Anyway, seems like worst part about this whole story is that seems like the worst part about the story is that the kid actually survived the jump. But like I said, he landed face first in the concrete of his backyard and it literally split his head open, I heard the doctors had to actually piece this kid's face back together because it was split open like a clamshell. Poor guy's head. Fuck. Jesus Christ, dude. Wait, did I... No. I didn't miss a 20... I didn't miss a dono, did I? I hope not. No. That was... I got mediocre bit. Thank you. But thank you for reminding me. If I do ever miss a donation, please let me know. I don't think I missed one, though. I've heard the doctors had to actually piece the kid's face back together because it was split open like a clamshell. Poor guy had dozens of facial reconstructions and still looks all messed up. Not to mention that brain. Fuck. Not to mention that the brain damage from the impact has left him with severe learning difficulties. All of that from a freaking house party. Makes me glad I never had one when I was growing up. Jesus Christ, dude, that's fucked up. I remember that was always like a really scary kind of thing that I observed growing up, was like people who are like in the medical field. Like whenever I saw people at various times, it wasn't super frequent, but like individuals who had tried to take their own lives but like failed to do so, and just like the really, really, really bad consequences that came from that. It was just so fucked up. I mean, obviously, like, someone taking their life is bad, but, like, the ones that, like, end up not successfully completing that, and, like, the issues that they have afterwards were just terrifying. Because I remember this one guy, I think he tried to, like, take, like, a pistol to the mouth. And I know this is scary to talk about, but, I mean, hey, welcome to the Scary Story channel. But, like, he failed, you know, but it left him like permanently sort of like paralyzed, but also like completely like a different person mentally. Like, you know, essentially, you know, at the age of 35 or something, he was now in a nursing home just to forever be taken care of, as if though like with the mentation of like a child, you know what I mean? And, you know, every time people would turn him to either clean him because he would, you know, soil himself or whatever, he would just like scream out, you know, like the most like brutal ear screeching scream you could ever hear. And it was just, and he was also get really violent where he would like try hitting you and stuff, but it's like he literally was just not like there anymore, you know what I mean? It was just, I don't know. It was a really sad sight to see where, you know, you go from like such a deep, terrible depression or whatever leading to that decision to then now being stuck as, I don't even know what you would describe it as, but it just made you realize you like try whatever the circumstances, like just trying to find the best in life and like, you know, talk to people, you know what I mean, to not end up in that scenario, which is even worse, you know, let alone death. Yeah, it's just fucking scary, man. Do I like dancing? I do like dancing. It feels pretty good. I was dancing a little bit before the stream earlier. I like listen to that Ryan Celsius Sounds remixes, and those are pretty fucking cool, dude. Yeah. Do I think knowing or reading these stories takes a toll on you? I guess a little bit, maybe. Maybe I've become kind of desensitized towards the more morbid things of life because of what I worked in as a medical professional, and like, and then having read so many of these stories after so long, it's like they definitely, I guess at the very least, kind of make me appreciate what I have now, whereas, or, you know, appreciate that you're like, well, my life, I should be appreciative of it, you know, I don't know. It's my favorite kind of milk. Chalky milky. Of course, I did like strawberry too, but I almost feel like strawberry would probably give me even worse, like, acid reflux. I'm not sure, though. But I haven't really drank a lot of milk. Well, I guess I eat ice cream, so it's pretty much the same fucking thing. Noir H with the 3 says, always stay positive and share late. Thank you, Noir. Yeah, trying to, and I hope everybody does, too. Yeah. But thank you for the 3. Have I ever seen Corpse? I have not, no. I've only seen his pubic hair like the rest of you have on Twitter. Why did I leave the medical field? Because of YouTube. To pursue my dreams of being a scary, spooky boy online. Joel, did you like reading spooky stories prior to starting a YouTube channel? I would read H.P. Lovecraft when I was working through his Necronomicon compilation, which I don't think he made it specifically be called the Necronomicon, but that was like obviously one of the themes in a few of his writings, talking about this ancient Necronomicon book. So like a collection of his writings throughout the years was compiled together and called the Necronomicon by whatever publishing company and stuff. So I always was like a fan of horror. I think I was more of a fan of like science fiction, more so because I felt like science fiction can, like, the tough thing about horror is that like it focuses so much on the act of something being scary, but very seldom does it really consider how they like tickle your brain per se, you know what I mean? And science fiction always, like, the whole premise of science fiction is there to like give you new ideas and that kind of thing, which is, I think, is why like Black Mirror was such a cool show, because it was like it would give you these new interesting concepts, but a lot of them were pretty dark as well, you know what I mean? But sometimes horror, like especially like within the creepypasta realm and the true scary stuff, it's like a lot of the stories kind of blend together rather than being like stories that kind of make you think. Sometimes they make you think, depending on how the author like sort of presents it. But a lot of them kind of blend together. I do love, though, when you tell people Black Mirror, about Black Mirror, you're like, okay, if you watch season 1, skip episode 1. The one where he has a little too much fun with a pig. Did you try the interactive episode of Black Mirror? I did. What was it called? Like Blunderbust, or it was like some German word. That was a cool episode. Did I end up watching Haikyuu yet? No. I was playing through last night. I was playing through Little Nightmares from like midnight until 6 a.m. But it was good. If you guys liked the original Little Nightmares, or you like Limbo, or you like Inside and all that kind of stuff, Little Nightmares 2 definitely tickles that itch. Well, actually, I guess scratches that itch is what I was looking for there. Joel, Naruto run. I do that every day when I'm running to the stream. Like, I'm gonna be late. Down the hall. I'm a police. Oh shit. I have to record 10 seconds of silence. Everyone silence. Just kidding. I'm a police officer here in Manchester, and like most of my colleagues, I've been having a great deal of trouble policing the lockdowns. A second round of increasingly harsh lockdown measures were introduced by the government fairly recently, and although I'm all for trying to contain and manage this, it's obvious that people are getting pretty sick of it. We've had to attend more and more incidents of people gathering in groups that exceed their social bubbles, and people are really not happy about us showing up. I can promise you, the last thing we want to do as police is stop you from seeing your friends and family for the first time in months, but we do have a job to do, even if we don't like doing it sometimes. But recently, I had to attend a call about a social gathering that ended up a lot worse than just a few harsh words being exchanged. A call that, at one point, I didn't really think I'd get Oops. Joel with a toast in his mouth? A piece of toast, or just like I'm doing a toast with my mouth? A toast. To the finest, most beautiful and courageous individual on planet Earth, Miley Cyrus. What do I look like? I'm right there on screen. I'm sitting in front of my microphone and my cool astropad. What's a food you've never tried and want to? Maybe like monkey brains. But recently I had to attend a call about a social gathering that ended a lot worse than just a few harsh words being exchanged. A call that, at one point, I didn't think I'd walk away from. So like I said, we get a few calls coming from the how the fuck do you say that place? Lavenschulm. Anybody from Levenshulm? Probably have to go to Forvo. Uno momento, while I go to Forvo. Oh, okay. Wait. Levenshulm.
Hey,
Levenshulm. Michelle Bell with the 2. Hey, you. Hey, Michelle. How are you? Carrie, you just hit that like button? Thank God. Whew. That's all I needed. Yeah, lick the like button. We need everyone to lick it next time. Levenshulm. Starfruit is good. You ever had that? Kind of tastes like grape. Yeah, isn't starfruit the one that smells like poop? Which one smells like poop? Like I said, we get a few calls coming from the Levenshulm area about a house party that's gotten out of control. Not only are these people gathering way in excess of the social distancing laws, but they're flaunting it, shouting at neighbors, playing loud music, and generally making a nuisance of themselves. The property the party was occurring in was known The property the party was occurring in was known to us as an Airbnb, and was located in what was usually a very quiet area. Now there were no concrete figures relayed to me. Oh, concrete figures, okay. Now, there were no concrete figures relayed to me by radio, but before I pulled up to the house, I was told there would be around 15 to 20 people at the property. But in reality, it was more like 200. Even when most of my available backup had arrived, we were still dangerously outnumbered. And in the time it had taken for them to get there, the people at the party had noticed I was there, and they most certainly weren't happy about it. Before we approached the property, I'd had all manner of abuse thrown at me, not to mention having a number of items literally thrown at my car, too. I didn't think it would be an easy call, but what happened next gives me the sweats just thinking about it. We managed to get into the house to turn down the music, before informing all in attendance that they would have to leave. Not a single person's wearing a mask. The only people with facial coverings are police officers. I won't get into the politics of mask wearing here, but let's just say I was not best pleased to see so many young people just flagrantly ignoring some pretty serious government health guidelines. Most younger people are also pretty scared of the police, and a lot of the noisy house parties I've had to attend calls to have ended in all the kids just legging it out of the various doors and windows. The party just sort of stops itself. But never have I been to one where no one seemed to care that we were there. We weren't in the least bit intimidating to them. And very quickly, the atmosphere went from tense to resentful to violent. There was this feeling in the air that the kids knew that they had us totally outnumbered, and it was most definitely not enjoyable to see them start realizing it too. They started ignoring us, sitting back down, telling us to F off. One lad even went on this big rant about how he could have had a... Dark Twin Flames with the 5 says, "Hey Joel, do you have any childhood scary story that keeps you up at night, and would you share with us?" Well, thank you for the 5. Childhood scary story. You know, I had this one moment that is such a vague memory, but it always sticks with me. Um, I don't even know what the fuck time it was, you know what I mean? But it was like I was really young, and it's weird. It's like whenever you're so young and you have memories of stuff, you can't quite tell if it was reality. And basically what happened is I was in bed, and I don't remember exactly what happened or, you know, how it transpired, but all I have is this vague memory of being in my completely pitch black room, and then suddenly my door to my room like bursts open, and I just like immediately, as I hear like something sprinting towards my bed, like "Rah!" Like, you know, pull the covers over me as you do as a child, and something just like jumps onto the bed, onto my chest, and it feels like a person, and just starts like shaking my fucking shoulders up and down, smashing onto the bed, like, and just like "Rah! Rah!" You know, like fucking growling, and like, you know, just like a rabid monster, and I'm just like you know, and I don't know, it's like that's the only memory I have of it. I don't know if like it was a dream. I don't know if it was like one of my brothers, you know what I mean? Because they were substantially older than me, so like they always fucking gave me shit, you know. In addition to looking out for me, I was also like the fucking guinea pig on everything, you know what I mean? So it's like I didn't know if they like one of them was just completely fucking with me, or if I had some sort of like terrifying nightmare, or if some sleep paralysis monster just burst in and wanted to fuck with me. But it was very weird. It was very weird. And it's like I don't even know if it was a real memory, you know what I mean? It was just like it's just always stuck with me as something that I recall. Yeah, not sure if memories are dreams. I mean, it is weird sometimes when you think about like even just like earlier today, you know, you're fucking even just earlier today, like your breakfast that you ate, or, you know, the place that you went to like hang out or something, is now a memory in the back of your head, and it's like it could have been a dream, you know. I guess you don't it's, you know, the only reason it's verifiable is because someone else had a shared experience with you, you know. The brain do be weird though. Who is the master of this channel? I think Pradeep, probably. He's running things in the background. You have horrible satanic cult memories? What the hell is that about? We are not real. Wake up. Ugh. I look at the screen and I'm playing Overwatch. No! No! Hey, Neko, what's up? They started ignoring us, sitting back down, telling us to F off. One lad even went on this big rant about how he couldn't have a birthday or a proper Christmas, and now we're taking this away from him too. He was quite impassionate, really. I understood where he was coming from, but I didn't understand why he and his friends were so quick to do something as reckless as attack police officers. One lad tried to punch an officer from behind as he was talking to another two kids. He then tries to get a hold of this lad, and the kid's mates One lad tried to punch an officer from behind as he was talking to another two kids. He then tries to get a hold of this lad, and the kid's mates jump in. The last thing I heard before things descended into chaos were all kinds of younger male voices saying things like, "Get him, get him!" And then there's just a flurry of bashing and shouting. It was all batons, tasers, and pepper spray. Anything to keep those kids off us, to keep them from gathering up and just kicking the life out of us right there in that house. I remember fighting towards the area of the kitchen that had all the kitchen knives in one of those fancy holders, then just locking that down so none of the kids could get a hold of a kitchen knife. We had a really hard time that night, but it could have been so much worse. If all those teenagers had really made the joint decision to actually go for us, there's no way we'd have been able to fight them all off. And when people lose control like that and start being little more than a mob, people lose their lives too. We're extremely lucky we managed to keep a lid on things. Police officers have died in similar situations like that before, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of times in the future when they'll be in danger of mob violence again. But to be there, actually experiencing that level of chaos and the fear... Oops. Michael Perez with the 2. Thank you, Michael. Haha, huzzah! Joel, you need mods to acknowledge your super chats, etc. Why would I need mods to if I acknowledge them? You know what I mean? Because I haven't missed any. I don't know what you mean. Like, do they need to, like... What do they need to do? Have ever been a fan of urban exploration? I like the stories of it. I've gone, like, caving in places before, and I've explored some, like, abandoned places, but I never really, like, took it as seriously as some people do. D Shore with a 4. Thank you. I could use some coffee right now. It'd be nice. I'm always afraid to drink it too late. Cameron, been a fan since 200K. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the We Blowing Up party.
Hey, listen.
But to be there, actually experiencing the level of chaos and fear in the flesh, it's something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. It really was horrific. And now we're stuck in a pattern of that sort of behavior. It's only going to get worse with the lockdowns. Like I said, I understand the need for them, but we as police are stretched to our absolute limit right now. And sooner or later, we're going to have to deal with another situation where a lot of angry people start to lose control, be it from fear or stress, or just being cooped up at home. And I really hope I'm not there to see it again. Can you do a favor for a favor, like remaster? I think it's your best one. Thanks, Cameron. Yeah, a lot of people like that one. I definitely am thinking that I will be soon doing for like members and, you know, $5 patrons. I will be doing like additional creepypasta, like a month, like a decently lengthy creepypasta, you know, where it's like not true scary stories, but just like fictional horror that is of, you know, just to try to, you know, change it up a little bit, give people another tier on Patreon to check out, or like, you know, give members something. And I guess the way you can do that on YouTube is like you can post stuff where it's like members only. I think that would be kind of neat, you know, for the really devoted folks, you know, instead of just... I feel bad because a lot of people like support, but, you know, aside from the early access on Patreon, here on YouTube, there's not a lot of like direct access, I guess you could say. Ashley, you got your boyfriend listening? Nice, thanks. It's a family ordeal. Have you ever had a dream that you could do anything? Oh yeah. Do I remember doing a favor for a favor? I do. Oh yes, I do. I never forget. Can I say Jaden has an unhealthy obsession with her crush? Pradeep, who do you know that's named Jaden? What the heck? Would Patreon members have to pay more? Well, I would probably set it to like a $5 tier, so like the $1 tier would be early access, and then the additional, you know, the additional creepypasta a month would be $5, because that's like the amount that members pay. So I would want to keep that like equal there. I wish I could do early access on YouTube, but it's just like kind of like complicated how that all works, and you can't really just post audio like you can, but you have to like render a whole ass video. It's just annoying. Excited to see Macaulay Culkin in the new season of American Horror Stories. Nice. Wonder what that's going to be about. Last summer, I went to a house party in the Gary Owen neighborhood of Limerick. Oh. Gary Owen. What the fuck? It's a neighborhood? I guess it's probably just Gary Owen. Probably. I don't even know. Limerick. Or is it Limerick? I don't fucking know. Limerick. Limerick City. Oh yeah, I gotta record. Fucking background noise. Would you go bungee jumping? I don't know about bungee jumping. Like, I feel like I would rather go skydiving than bungee jumping. It just seems like bungee jumping just seems dangerous. Like, what if the cord's too long? You just fucking smash your head in. Last summer, I went to a house party in the Gary Owen neighborhood of Limerick here in Ireland. We were right in the middle of lockdown restrictions, and I know it was really stupid and selfish of me to go, but I was just so in need of a stress release. I'm a really social creature, and I need to spend time around people. Like, I was actually going mad being stuck inside all on my own. I do actually really regret going, but breaking restrictions aren't the reason I wish I had... Sorry, let me gargle. Let me gurgle. I do actually really regret going, but breaking restrictions isn't the reason I wish I hadn't gone, because I saw one of the worst, most horrifying things I'd ever seen in my life at that party, and it's something I don't think I'll ever get out of my head. So the party is going swimmingly for a few hours, and I'm occupied being the little social butterfly that I am. But then I walk into the kitchen to get another drink, and this big argument is unfolding between this couple that seemed to be based around allegations of infidelity. It was super intense and awkward being in there with them, so I just quietly grab my bottle of wine from the fridge and then head back to where I was gabbing away with some new friends. I didn't really think much of it. House parties can be weird like that, after all. One room, people are passed out. Another one has people dancing around, while some rooms host little arguments between couples that usually don't turn into something hideous. Only, this one did. The guy in the argument storms out of the party, and then for a few hours, everything is good vibes again. But then at some point later in the night, the guy comes back to the party. People know his face by the point. Your cat's having a party, you're all invited. Thank you, Lila. Thanks. Bring your own cat. Oh my god, can you imagine a party where everyone brought their own cat? That'd be a fucking shit show. Jen with the 5 says, we welcome you all. W horror, gore, and horrors. Thanks, Jen. People knew his face by that point, so they don't really have any reason not to let him in, and I'm guessing he didn't give them any clues as to what he was about to do, otherwise they'd never have let him back into the house. The guy then searches the house to find the girl he'd been arguing with. I'm not really sure if they were a couple. I just heard them arguing about sleeping around. When he finds her, he confronts her, starts screaming at her, and then reaches into his jacket, takes out a bottle, and then appears to douse her with the contents. People thought he was just being a jerk and throwing vodka on her. The outrage partly stemmed... okay. People thought he was just being a jerk throwing vodka on her, the outrage partially stemming from the wasted alcohol as well as the undue aggression. He then legs it from the room while she's screaming. From the people I've spoken to about it, the one who were in the room when it happened, they first thought her screaming was her being a bit melodramatic about having some drink chucked on her. But then she took her hands away from her face, and it's covered in what looks like burns. It wasn't alcohol he'd thrown onto her face that night. It was acid. Luckily, someone there was a chemistry graduate. They realized what was happening almost straight away, and then grabbed something from under the kitchen sink that would neutralize the acid. I don't know what it was exactly, but some of the... Jesus Christ, acid? What the fuck? Who the fuck just has acid, like, on their person? Jen with the 15 buckaroo says, hey, I did not mean to give away your secret regarding being dressed as an emo goth in Mexico. Please don't tell everybody about my secret life, thank you. I'm just living it. Just living my best life. I don't know what it was exactly, but it was... Wait. I'm confused. I don't know what it was exactly, but was some other chemical that probably did... Okay. Carrie Lang with the 5 Canadian maple syrup dollars says, Joel, how many siblings do you have, and are you the youngest? Yeah, I got 2 older siblings, and I am the BB of the family, if that tells you guys anything. They're quite a bit older than me, though. But they're doing their thing. I guess we've all reached an age where we're, like, of equal adults to one another now. Mexico.
Hey, listen.
I don't know what it was exactly, but it was some other chemical that probably didn't do her much good either. But it definitely stopped the damage being any worse than it was. I heard the poor girl had to have a skin graft from her leg, though. Like, even with the help she got from her... Sorry, this fucking one sentence is confusing. I don't know what it was exactly, but was some other... Okay, didn't do much good, but it definitely stopped the damage from being any worse than it was. I heard the poor girl had to have a skin graft from her leg, though. Like, even with the help she got, her injuries were absolutely... Okay. I heard the poor girl had to have a skin graft from her leg, though. Like, even with the help she got. Fuck, I don't know why I feel like there should be a comma there, but it's fucking me up. Let me start back a second. I don't know what it was exactly, but whatever the other chemical was, it probably didn't do her much good. I don't know what it... What the fuck is this so confusing to me, this last, like, little bit? I don't know what it was exactly, but... Yeah, okay. I got, like, a stuffy nose from, like, I'm not very hydrated today. I'm not very hydrated, sir. I don't know what it was exactly, but... It was... Sorry, there's, like... It's, like, missing one fucking, like, connector word, and it's, like, fucking my brain up really bad here. But it was... Okay. Wait, what? I don't know what it was exactly, but it was some other chemical that... Okay. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was some other chemical that probably didn't do her much good either, but it definitely stopped the damage from being any worse than it was. I heard the poor girl had to have a skin graft from her leg, though. Like, even with the help she got... Oh, Jesus Christ. I heard the poor girl had to have a skin graft from her leg, though. Like, we even... Dude, some stories my brain just goes on a fucking, like whatever neuron pathway I'm on right now, it's just fucking not right. Rabid, thank you. I heard the poor girl had to have a skin graft from her leg, though. Like, even with the help she got, her injuries were absolutely horrific. The bloke who did it went on the run for a bit, too. Like the Garde, what we call the police... The Garde? The fuck? Let me look that up right quick. Garde. The Garde. The bloke who did it went on the run for a bit, too. Like the Garde, what we call the police in Ireland, didn't manage to get cuffs on him for like a month, and we were all so relieved when they finally did. I can't imagine what kind of monster does something like that after an argument. I don't care what over. To use actual acid to try to permanently disfigure someone's face, that takes a special kind of evil, don't you think? Who is Joel? I don't know, who is Joel? Joel is legal. You guys don't know that. Don't you dare try to make any weird fan art of me and put it on Twitter, or they won't do anything about it. I'm giving away my age with the movie references. Yeah. Well, it's too bad that all the movies nowadays aren't even worth referencing. Joel Mama, yeah. I remember I wrote a story back in like middle school, and one of the characters' names was Joel Mamast. My teacher didn't even recognize it. Joel is an angel's name. Is it? I feel like... How do you know that? Have you been talking to them lately? Have I done any traveling? Not recently. I am going down to Florida here at the end of February into March. So if you're in the Florida area, let's hang out with some crocs. Some local swamp kitties, as they call them. Paint me like one of those French girls. Paint me speaking French. You missed Noir's shout out, really? Bruv, how did I do that? Oh, I did. Thank you. See, you know what? I appreciate it when you tell me I missed one. Oh yeah, I went from Carrie's and talked about my siblings and then missed Noir because it happened at the same time. Sorry, Noir. Oh, Noir with the 5 says, these live streams have been part of my nightly routine. My mom just now went, is that the sexy voice man? And she's hooked, I think. Nice. Shit. I'm getting all the MILFs. Reeling them in, baby. Joel is a prophet's name. Yeah, I remember there was a Joel in the Old Testament, and he warned of the incoming locust plague. The Logue Plogue. Will you be driving through I-75 or flying? I think we're going to fly. We got a straight flight down there, which is pretty dope. The music is intimidating. Can you even hear it? Is it even loud enough? MILF collection. Got them on the case like butterflies. That sounds way creepier than it should have. Sorry. I'm going to look for the Jersey Devil. Yes, and the skunk ape. Every time I'm in Florida, I've been looking for the skunk ape. The same way that when I'm driving on the highway, I always consider myself a sort of amateur cryptozoologist, because I feel like if you even take a mild glance into the tree line of the forest as you're driving on the highway and you're just like secretly hoping to see Sasquatch, you kind of become a Squatch hunter at that point in an honorary sense. Show you beach pics. Oh, there'll be plenty of beach pics. Me buried in sand completely. Bikini pic. Wait, I ignored you, Jen? What did they say? Did you donate? There's no way I missed you. There's no way. No. Wait. Oh no, yeah, we got the emo goth girl. Or emo goth. And the Horgor and horrors. I'm sorry, sometimes the chat goes kind of fast. Do I have a face tattoo? I do, yeah. It's just like 6 teardrops on one side of my face. It's because back in the day I was like trying to do like the SoundCloud rapper thing, and figured that was my like best way to break into it. All fun and games till you lock eyes with a Wendigo. Alright, Royden and Essex. Is it called Essex there in the UK? The UK? Royden. Well, Royden doesn't seem to have a pronunciation. Essex has to, though. Essex. Mark Essex. Okay. What about Royden? Royden. Sounds like a fucking Pokemon. I just got a Royden. Definition. What the hell? Royden. Okay. Alright. Liz, you're not gonna go to class tomorrow? What if you get stupid? Spider the size of a full-grown pizza. I live in a place called Royden here in Essex. Last summer, during the lockdown, one of our neighbors decided to throw a house party. Yeah, an actual house party in the middle of a pandemic that went on way into the night. Needless to say, my mom and dad weren't best pleased, and I thought it was really selfish of them to do something like that, but anyway, I'm up in my room trying to get some sleep, and all I can hear is music and voices coming from the other side of the road. Like they weren't even bothered to keep the noise down. They were out in the streets talking to each other and stuff, and it was so annoying. And so there came a point where I got so sick of it that I got up out of bed and went to the window to just stare at them disapprovingly. I don't know why I thought that would do any good. None of them could see me, and I wasn't going to stop the party just by staring at it. But I did it anyway, and that's where I found myself for That's it, you're getting stared at disapprovingly, you piece of shit. How many stories we at? This is story 6 of 9. They've been kind of quick ones tonight. Kind of quickies. Just some quickie lickies. Joel sounds like Lucifer from Lightbringer. Is this a live reading? It is. Jen Child with the 10 says, favor really quick. Explain to me the difference between sending you money on PayPal versus a super chat, which is quicker. Is there a portion taken? Explain. Will you? We can talk about it later. I just want to discuss that. But thank you for the 10. Thank you. But I did it anyway, and that's where I found myself for a few good minutes, just sort of watching them aimlessly wander around, slurring their words to each other. Then the next thing I know, a car is pulling up outside the house. I actually start hoping that it's an unmarked police car come to shut down the party so I could get some sleep, and I think my hopes are confirmed when one of the people inside the car calls one of the partiers over to the window. The bloke stumbles over to the car, and at first it did seem like it was the police, because all he was saying was stuff like, "Who are you now anyway? Who's asking? What's it got to do with you?" Then out of nowhere, I hear 4 big bangs and flashes from inside the car. Then the bloke who walked over to the car just falls backwards onto the pavement. We don't really have a lot of guns here in the UK, so it took me a minute for it to actually sink in what had happened, that the lads in the car had actually shot the fella who they'd called over. God, and the noises he was making too. I've never heard someone in that kind of pain before, and those gurgling noises. I couldn't get those out of my head for quite a while. I rushed out of my bedroom and told my mom and dad what I'd seen. They'd heard the bangs too and had rushed downstairs to see what was going on, and when I told them that there had been a shouting, they immediately called 999. It was 100% the scariest thing. Fuck. Implied Wisdom with the 5 says, you've been my favorite narrator on YouTube for a while. I mentioned you in a Clubhouse paranormal group and recommended your channel best way. Oh, thank you. Thank you. What's, what is Clubhouse Paranoia? I've never heard of that before, but that sounds fun. Jen Child with a 5 says, I'm getting too tired. I think I gave you enough money for Valentine's Day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Anyways, I gotta go to bed. Love you all. Love you too, Jen. Thanks for dropping by. Thank you. Wait, a shouting? You said shouting instead of a shooting. Oh no, where's that at? fuck? Okay, it's not that far up. Cool. Bit of a shouting. That's the drive-bys they have in the UK, are shoutings. A drive-by argument. I disagree. They'd heard the bangs too and had rushed downstairs to see what was going on. And when I told them that there had been a shooting, they immediately called 999. It was 100% the scariest night of my life so far. Just hearing those shots come out of that... Fuck. Just hearing those shots come out of nowhere is something I don't think I'll ever forget. But it's the effects of those gunshots that stick with me over everything else. How strong our bodies are, but how fragile they are too. I read in the papers that the guy had died in the hospital a day or two after he was admitted. I feel terrible for him, but I'm amazed he even made it that long. From the sounds he was making, I'm surprised he didn't die right there on the pavement outside that party. I still don't think I'm fully over what I saw and heard that night. I'm sure I will be someday, but for now, all it takes is just hearing the word party, and all I can think about are those gurgling noises the guy made, lying on the pavement outside the last party he ever went to. Diamond Knight, 76 with the 4. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, thank you. Samantha, welcome. Yeah, it's good to have you. Hope work was good. All right, we got 3 more stories to go. The greatest contrast is listening to these horror stories and playing Animal Crossing. Nice. I should call you Hoel from now on. You can if you want. Hoel. It's a soft J. Gabriella, welcome, welcome. Glad you can make it. Alright, 10 seconds of silence for the troops. On Saturday, October 19th, 2019, a house party was taking place in the British town of Milton Keynes. Fuck. How the hell do you say this shit? Keynes. Keynes? Milton Keynes? It was. I should have trusted me gut. On Saturday, October 19th, 2019, a house party was taking place in the British town of Milton Keynes. Those attending the party are in their late teens to early 20s, and for some of them, this is the first time they'd been to an actual no-parents house party. The sense of freedom was almost as intoxicating as the things in the bottles they drank from, with good music and close friends to make the night one they'd never forget. But for all in attendance, that night would be memorable for other reasons, horrible reasons. Because it wasn't just friends that had gotten word that there was going to be a party that night, and while those inside reveled in the atmosphere and drank away their cares, something terrible was approaching, and they would never be ready for it. The partygoers were completed. I'm in your dreams at night? Nice. I've finally infiltrated the subconscious. We need to count the fucks. Yeah, Liz, that can be your job. How many given? Handed out freely. The partygoers were completely ignorant of the fact that creeping through the darkness outside were 5 armed men, wearing masks and dark clothing. What occurred next was savage and brutal, but the build-up was far more unsophisticated. 2 of the men crept up to the front door of the house, making sure to stay out of sight of the main windows, while the other 3 went around the back of the house. Those inside were making plenty of noise from an open back door to the house, and the masked men knew the rear would be an easy entry point. Those inside were making plenty of noise from an open back door to the house, and the masked men knew the rear would be an easy entry point. These were experienced criminals, members of a local gang known as B3, and knew exactly how to inflict a great deal of terror and violence in the most effective way imaginable. Then in an instant, the armed men were storming through the back door and into the house, barely giving those inside time to react. They were heavily armed, and not everyone attending the party was a target. They were looking for specific people, members of a rival gang known as the M4. In the weeks prior, one of the home invaders, Ben Potter, had been set upon by members of the M4 who drove him out to a secluded area near Westcroft. Westcroft. In the weeks before, one of the home invaders, Ben Potter, had been set upon by members of the M4, who drove him out to a secluded area near Westcroft before subjecting him to a terrifying series of humiliations and mock executions. The rival gang members beat him mercilessly, stripped him naked, and then marched him through the trees. When Ben begged for his life, the rival gang took out their cell phones to capture the young man's fear on video. Time and time again, he was told he was about to be choked out and buried alive in a grave they dug it for him. Can I read, please? Sounds like a supplement. B3. Yo, who's part of that B3 gang? The vitamin C gang. Time and time again, he was told he was about to be choked out and buried alive in a grave they dug for him, or they were going to cut his head off while filming his decapitation on their phones, so they could send the video to his friends. Ben thought he was going to die, but it turned out all to just be scare tactics, as the rival gang had no intention of killing him, only scaring him, but nevertheless, he wanted revenge. The gang tore through the house party, barking threats and brandishing their knives at those in attendance, but it was only when they spotted 17-year-old Dom Ansa. Ansa? Okay. 1 second. Dom Ansa. Ansa. Ansa, okay. The vitamin deficiency gang, yeah. But it was only when they spotted 17-year-old Dom Ansa that they actually turned violent. A court later heard that Ansa was a senior member of M4, and when he saw the masked men barreling towards him, he immediately turned to flee. But at some point during Dom's escape attempt, he slipped whilst running through the home. His pursuers were on top of him immediately, and Dom was stabbed. Fuck, sometimes my nose, like, you read and you kind of get caught in your sinuses. It's fucking stupid. Anyways. His pursuers were on top of him immediately, and Dom was stabbed all over his body a total of 47 times. The knives came from almost every direction. He never stood a chance. Most of the party goers were so terrified of the men that burst into the house that they ran as soon as they saw them. But the armed men posted on the front door of the house made sure no one could escape. The armed men had turned the place into a kill house, with those trapped inside subject to the most violent whims. Vampires are real, no joke, no hoax. Overtone warrior, prove it, bro. Like the ones from the Matrix, or just the goths that frequent my raves? Julius Caesar vibes. I know, right? That's exactly what I thought. That's funny. Who would I love to be sponsored by? I don't know. I don't really care. Anybody who wants to. I'm surprised I haven't been hit up by like Dollar Shave Club yet or something of that nature, because I could actually get some use out of that. The armed men had turned the place into a kill house, with those trapped inside subject to their most violent whims. Only one person tried to help Dom while he was being attacked, one of his oldest childhood friends, a young man named Ben Gillum Rice. Ben tried to grab a knife from one of Dom's attackers and was almost successful, but in seeing the imminent danger in a partygoer grabbing one of their weapons, Ben Gillum Rice was stabbed through the heart, killing him almost instantly. The gang then perused the trapped partygoers to ensure that there were no more members of their rivals present, and when they were sure that there were none, they departed as quickly as they'd come. Despite being stabbed over 47 times, Dom Ansah fought for his life and actually made it to a local hospital while still unconscious. He was even lucid enough to tell police officers exactly who'd stabbed him, and spent some time talking to his mother, who had rushed to be at the hospital when she got the news of the stabbing. For a while, it looked like Dom might pull through, but the sheer trauma of the wounds he sustained made his condition extremely unstable, and a couple of hours after he was admitted, he died suddenly. It was simply a case of tracking down those that Dom had named, and within 24 hours, the police had every single member of the invading B3 gang in custody, and one by one, each admitted what they'd done. At their trial, the judge commented on the senseless and tragic killings he said came through a culture of violence and knives, which was promoted through social media. Addressing Ben Porter, the B3 member had been kidnapped and tortured. The judge said, "Have no doubt that your motivation related to the traumatic experience of the assault you had suffered." Motherfucker, what the fuck? Have no doubt that your motivation related to the traumatic experience of the assault you had suffered yourself at the... Wait, what? This sentence makes no fucking sense. Addressing Ben Potter, the B3 members who had been kidnapped and... Ben Potter... What? The B3 member who had been kidnapped and tortured, the judge said, "Have no doubt that your motivation related to the traumatic experience of the assault you had suffered yourself at the hands of M4 2 years." I just don't understand how this sentence is going. Have no doubt that your motivation related to the traumatic experience of the assault you had suffered yourself at the hands of the... What? It's not like a sentence, you know what I mean? I have no doubt... Oh, I see. I just forgot the word I. It's just like, it's so funny. One little fucking letter just messes with my brain. Carrie Lang with the 5. Canadian says, "Best advice my mom ever gave me, lies have legs." I don't know why that... I feel like I should understand that, but I don't. Like they never stick around. Or I guess they never stick, like a truth would be, fundamentally. Overtone, you're gonna send some scary stories? Nice, nice. Oh, you're in the UK? Just woke up? Nice. Got a lot of UK stories tonight. You guys got some scary stuff going down there. Addressing Ben Potter, the B3 member who had been kidnapped and tortured, the judge said, "I have no doubt that your motivation related to the traumatic experience of the assault you had suffered yourself at the hands of M4 2 years earlier, but that did not begin to justify your participation in these murders." Dom Ansah's mother, Tracy, added that every day she felt she had to put on a mask and a brave face to look at the violent young man who had taken her son from her. Ben Gillum Rice's mother, Susan, said she had felt physically sick from being so close to her son's killers during their trial for murder. She called the use of knives cowardly, and added that she was hoping to see some remorse on the faces of the juveniles, and was disgusted that she saw none. They just smirked and walked out with a smile, she later said to gathered journalists. Smirked. These young thugs had raided a house full of innocent people to stab one of their friends to death before their eyes, and all they did was smirk as they were being sentenced. Perhaps this is because they felt like revenge was served, and that any kind of prison time would be worth the feeling of vindication, knowing they'd taken bloody vengeance against someone who had harmed and humiliated one of their own. And, in considering that fact, we might have stumbled onto an idea far more terrifying than a violent home invasion, that some young men are plunged into an inescapable cycle of ignorance, poverty, and violence, to the point they can take another's life and simply smile at their murder trials. The scary thing isn't so much the stabbing, it's knowing that it's going to take place time and time again, all over the world, forever. Overtone, peace out. Have a good night. We got 2 more stories in this, John. Snakes can't lie, that's true. They are not deceivers at all. What's my favorite species of tree? I guess birch, maybe, because it's cool looking. But I do like the... what are they called? What's the ones they... like the blossoms? Sugar blossoms? No. What tree is a blossom? Blossom tree. Cherry blossom. Yeah, those are cool. Some people will call them the cum trees because apparently they smell like cum. I didn't think that, though. I'm just simply reporting the news from a bunch of weirdos. My favorite color. I think the color of my spacesuit is pretty neat. Alright, 10 seconds. Brooklyn Farthing was born on August 26, 1994. She grew up in the small town of Berea, Kentucky. Man. Shelby Walker, Randall Walker, Tasha Page, okay. Whoops. Berea. Berea. Berea? Oh, it is Berea. What about this? No. No. Berea. You like banana trees? I think I've seen a banana tree in Florida. We actually ate a banana from it. It was pretty good. She grew up in the small town of Berea, Kentucky with her mother, Shelby Walker, her stepfather, Randall Walker, and her 2 sisters, Tasha and Paige. When she was much younger, Brooklyn had been a Girl Scout and was a loyal and enthusiastic member of the organization for the majority of her life. She received a great deal of praise during her time in the Girl Scouts. She volunteered to make care kits for those affected by Hurricane Katrina, visited the elderly, and spent a lot of her time helping out her fellow Girl Scouts whenever they found things tough. Brooklyn then blossomed into a spirited and lively teenager with a boundless love of the natural world, and especially for anything four-legged and furry. She also had an aptitude for athletics and was described as a tell-it-like-it-is, straight-talking kind of girl, which didn't always prove popular with her peers. Brooklyn also has a huge passion for baking, and would spend a lot of her nights baking chocolate chip brownies for the whole family. She was a very family and community-oriented person, and unlike a lot of girls her age, she actually seemed to enjoy spending time around her mother and father, 2 loving parents who thought it was their duty to help pay for their girls' driving lessons and eventual tests. On June 21st, 2013, Brooklyn and Paige took their driving tests. While Brooklyn passed with flying colors, Paige failed spectacularly, something that became a bit of a running joke around the Walker-Farthing family for the remainder of the day. That night, the family attended their grandmother's 70th birthday party. Grandfathers, fuck. Pradeep's getting wet and wild. There's a bonsai exhibit an hour away. That'd be cool to visit. I seem like I grew up in a small town. Why? That night, Pradeep, dude, go. 1 second. Stinky cat wants to go poop.
Hey, listen.
Got a Pez with the 5 says, hey, listen, Joel, I usually ask for an e-hug. This time, please give one to my beautiful fiancée at Coco the Monkey. She's in here more than me lately. Oh, nice. Well, e-hug to Coco. E-hug to both of you guys. I have enough to go around, I think. Just a big group hug. The Death Museum in California. That does seem creepy. Because I come off not so jaded. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I went to New York City a couple of times, but years ago, maybe 2012, 13 or some shit like that, I just remember, like, within such a short period of time being there, I felt like my soul was fucking sucked out of me so hard. Because everyone, not literally everyone, but the majority of my interactions there were so negative. Everyone was in such a shit mood, you know. And it's like, I understand, we're in a hurry, we're in New York, we're in a hurry. But it's like, you're all fucking in a hurry to die, you know what I mean? Like, what are you in a hurry for? Like, you're in a hurry just to be a dick? Like, I don't know. New York City was not for me. It was just like, I mean, I get it. Like, it seems fun, and I'm sure if I was there with more people, like, I could ignore the negativity, but it just seemed like, yeah, everybody was in a real rush to get to hell. But as soon as I left, I feel like it took me a while for that, like, sort of attitude to leave me, but it was very infectious. It was strange. That night, the family attended their grandfather's 70th birthday. As he had been gravely ill in the months preceding his birthday, and had only just made something of a miraculous recovery, the occasion was important to everyone in attendance, and a great deal of enthusiasm was shown by all. Just weeks ago, they thought the man wouldn't see his next birthday, but now, here he was, celebrating heartily. And now, here he was. Venikins are with the 2 says, Boop snooze to Pradeep and extra butter for your socks. Thank you, Venikins. Good to see ya. Pradeep has just left the room, so I'll have to send a nice little boopy snooter his way. You live in New York, you hate it? Yeah, it's not that I'm trying to talk shit on New York. It was just like my experience with the like, I remember the worst part was when I fucking accidentally gave like a flat tire. Not like, but like I gave like a flat tire to a waitress. You know, like I stepped on the back, like accidentally. I mean, the place is fucking crowded. I stepped on the back of her, like, you know, shoe horn area. And she just like stops, you know, in her tracks. It's just like, you see her take like this big deep breath, like not looking at me. Like, and I'm just like, I know it's coming. I'm like, oh, fuck me, dude. And then she just like turns around and just like puts her like finger like right in my chest. And she's like, watch where you're going. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I didn't see her. I'm so sorry. And I think she actually felt a bit of remorse whenever she noticed that my attitude wasn't like a dick back to her or whatever, but it was just like, holy fuck, dude, this place is dramatic. Good God. Yeah, like if you ever go behind somebody's like flip-flop, it's easier with like a flip-flop, but if you go behind somebody's flip-flop and you like stand on their flip-flop as they're walking and they go to like lift their foot, it like fucks, either like rips their flip-flop off or like fucks their walking up, and it's called a flat tire. It's kind of funny. I didn't do it on purpose though. That one was an accident. I was just like not paying attention, like stepped on her. She was small. Joe, watch where you're going. Hey, watch where you're going. Watch where you're walking here. I'm from New York. Hey, watch where you're walking. You stepped right on my spinal. I'm so sorry. My spinal. Just weeks ago, they thought the man wouldn't see his next birthday. But now, here he was, celebrating as heartily as everyone else. After what was undoubtedly a rather subdued and emotional birthday party. Fuck, my voice is starting to go. After what was undoubtedly a rather subdued and emotional immersioner. I'm walking here. Okay, I'm reading here. Watch out, words. Look out, words, you're about to get read. After what was undoubtedly a rather subdued and emotional birthday party, Brooklyn and Paige attended another party on Red Lick Road, along with their cousin. This was a considerably wilder affair, given it was attended by teens in their age group, and there was rumors of there being a stash of booze at the party. According to Paige, her sisters knew the majority of those in attendance and was extremely excited to get to a much livelier party after hanging out with their grandparents. After drinking and dancing for a few hours, Paige and the cousin decided to leave sometime between the hours of 7 and 8 p.m. But Brooklyn, who had pre-packed her overnight bag, made plans to stay with a friend who was also at the party, so they could sleep off their hangovers away from the judgmental gaze of Brooklyn's parents. Yet it came time to leave, and Brooklyn was disappointed to hear that instead of sticking their plan to a shiters. Is this story going to be scary soon? I think so. We've got a little bit to go. It's a bit of a slow burn. You got to have patience. Nice, Michelle. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yet it came time to leave. Brooklyn was disappointed to hear that instead of sticking to their plan of a sleepover, her friend had her heart set on spending the night at her boyfriend's house. Naturally, this made Brooklyn rather angry, and an intense argument unfolded as a result of this impromptu change of plans. Other partygoers who witnessed the disagreement claimed that Brooklyn was so annoyed that she ditched the party. Gosh. Other partygoers who witnessed the disagreement claimed that Brooklyn was so annoyed that she ditched the party altogether, but in order to see how, she had to catch a ride. In order to see how? What the fuck does that mean? Was so annoyed that she ditched the party altogether, but in order to see how, she had to catch a ride with two men she'd never met before. What the fuck does it mean? In order to see how? See how? Gorge. Other partygoers who witnessed the disagreement claimed that Brooklyn was so annoyed that she ditched the party altogether. But in order to see her way to that, she had to catch a ride with two men she'd never met before that night. The identities of those men are currently being withheld pending results of a police investigation. But what we know for certain is that, when questioned by police, one of the men said that they drove Brooklyn down to Floyd Branch Road, apparently to look at some horses. After that, the man giving the account was dropped off back at his house and didn't see either Brooklyn or his friend again. This other guy took Brooklyn home with him to a house located in the 100 block of Dillon Court, just off U.S. Highway 421. As the house was actually in foreclosure at the time, there would have been no running water or electricity. At around 4 a.m. on June 22nd, Brooklyn called her... Fuck. Joel, say, see how fast. See how. You're excited to see the new Sailor Moon movie? Whoa. I didn't even know they were doing a movie. Is it all animated? At around 4 a.m. on June 22nd, Brooklyn called her sister Paige and asked if their cousin could come pick her up from the address at Dillon Court. But their cousin had been drinking heavily and was in no fit state to be driving, so Paige had to pass on the bad news that their sister didn't have a ride home that night, which obviously put Brooklyn in a very awkward situation. She could either call her mom, waking her up and making her drive all the way out to Dillon Court and possibly having her discover she'd been drinking, or she could contact her ex-boyfriend. Or she could contact her ex-boyfriend and get a ride home from him instead. Obviously, to Brooklyn, the first option was completely unthinkable, but her ex was working that night and it would be a couple of hours before he could drive out to pick her up. But it seemed Brooklyn was so terrified of being caught drunk that she chose to simply wait it out in a dark, foreclosed home, shacked up with a total stranger. By the time Brooklyn's ex finished his shift and he was able to get back to his phone, he found he had received several messages from her. He opened up the text thread to see that her longer, more drawn-out text had cut down to just a few words time a time. What the fuck is time a time? He opened up the text thread to see that her longer, more drawn-out text had cut down to just a few words. Time a time. Joel, say Alpha Kenny bot. Alpha Kenny. I don't know what that means. And I don't want to do anything. I'm not going to get tricked. I will not be tricked. You cannot pull a fast one on me, mister. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. This is why parents say they'd rather me call them when I drink or drive and get home safe. Exactly. Like, people are so afraid of, like, telling their parents they did something, but if you're in a tough bind, just give mommy a call. Give Daddy Let's Read a call. I'll take you to the police station where you can be arrested. Favorite go-to snack? Oof. Maybe like... just like heavy whipping cream. Actually, heavy whipped cream is pretty good. You just take that and you're like, blow that in your mouth. It's fucking good. And it's like it's not too bad for you. Joel is a designated driver. He opened up the text thread to see that her longer, more drawn-out text had cut down to just a few words. I'll just leave it at that. He opened up the text thread to see that her longer, more drawn-out text had cut down to just a few words. Her messages said things like, "Can you hurry? Please hurry up," and "I'm scared." But on the drive over to Dillon Court, Brooklyn's extremely worried ex-boyfriend received yet another message that simply read, "Never mind, I'm okay. Going to a party in Rockcastle County." Her ex tried to call multiple times, but she wasn't answering her phone. He then sent her a text asking who she was with, but Brooklyn didn't reply to that either. In fact, she would never reply to anyone's texts or calls, ever again. Later that day, on June 22nd, Brooklyn had made plans to attend a car show in Somerset, Kentucky with a few of her friends, but she never showed up and wasn't replying to texts or calls. It wasn't like Brooklyn to miss a car show, so naturally her friends were deeply concerned and instead called Paige in the hopes that she'd know where her sister was. But Paige had no idea that Brooklyn hadn't made it home that night, and when she learned the news, she began to panic. After calling to tell their mother that Brooklyn might be missing, Paige began to frantically call around her friends, trying to learn the names of the two guys who gave Brooklyn a ride. Luckily, she got hold of one of their numbers and managed to actually speak to the guy whose foreclosed house she'd gone back to after looking at horses. He was open about the fact that he had been at the party that night and even admitted to giving Brooklyn a ride back to his place. But after that, his story began to get a little weird. He'd said he'd left Paige alone, in a house with no running water. He left in the house with no running water. Carrie with a 5, Canadian says, We're here for a good time, not a dong time. Waiting for Joel to sing. Waiting for Joel to sing. Well, you're gonna be waiting a long time, waiting a long time, waiting a long time. 'Cause I'm not very good at singing. Not very good at fucking singing. I can kinda talk sing. I'm very toxic at talk singing. Unpopular opinion. Tortilla chips with tomato sauce is way better than salsa. Damn. Tomato sauce. I remember ate tomato paste. It was kind of gross. How is Southern Cannibal? Is he good? I mean, you can go listen to him. He's a nice guy. He said he'd left Paige alone, in a house with no running water or electricity, because she'd felt uncomfortable sleeping with him, apparently having only recently broken up with her ex. The guy said he'd respected her decision, but instead of giving her a ride home, or at least calling her a taxi, he chose to leave his own home to get her space. Wait, what? The guy said he respected her decision, but instead of giving her a ride home, or at least calling her a taxi, he chose to leave her in his home alone to give her space. He said the last he'd seen of her, she was sitting on his front porch, smoking a cigarette and talking about a party she'd heard about in Rockcastle County. Paige was immediately skeptical and planned on giving the man's name and number to the cops, so she would have to contact them, should she. Can I just be good at fucking reading, please? I feel like I need more paragraphs. It's easier for my mind to process. Big paragraphs, no go. Number 15, the twerk demon has possessed Joel. Well, no, I don't think other scary story channels are necessarily my competitors per se. Though I guess you could say that, but I kind of consider us all part of the same community, and I don't really know any scary story narrators that are not cool with each other, you know? And if they are not cool with each other, then I don't know why. My show blows it away. Thanks, Ted. That's what I like to hear. Paige was immediately skeptical and planned on giving the man's name and number to the cops should she have to contact them. But just minutes after she hung up the phone, the man called back to tell her that he was scared. He was scared because, according to him, when he'd gotten back to his house after giving Brooklyn some space, he found his front porch was ablaze. He called the fire department, who promptly drove over to put the fire out. But when he got inside to survey the damage, he found that all of Brooklyn's belongings had been left behind, but that she was nowhere to be found. Paige and Brooklyn's mom rushed to file a police report, and once it had been officially 24 hours since she had been Bruv, what is this saying? And once it had been officially... Okay. Thanks, Earth, baby. Paige and Brooklyn's mom rushed to file a police report, and once it had been officially 24 hours since she was last seen, was formally declared missing. The police drove over to the address at Dillon Court to retrieve the items she left behind there. They quickly noted that the only things missing from the collection were Paige's cell phone and the clothing she had been wearing. Their next move was to check her cell phone records, finding that in the 24 hours she'd been missing, She'd been called more than 100 times by a plethora of different numbers, a measure of just how worried people were about her. And they were right to be worried. According to a statement by the local fire department, the porch fire they attended to at around 7 a.m. on the 22nd was extremely suspicious and appeared to be a work of arson as opposed to a lit cigarette. On the Sunday after Brooklyn's disappearance, Kentucky State Police began conducting interviews. The owner of the foreclosed house where Brooklyn was last seen was obviously among those first questioned. Amongst us. That's the sequel, Amongst Us. Beatrice with the 10 says, "Hey Joel, I just want to say thank you. Your videos and live streams have always put me in a good mood after a stressful day at work." Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you. It's good to have you here. And Michelle Ortega with the 10. Thank you, Michelle. You guys are very kind. Appreciate it. With a beating heart. Van, you're trying very hard to stay up. You can do it. I believe in you. We're getting pretty close, actually. I'm close to the end of the stories. The owner of the foreclosed house where Brooklyn was last seen was obviously amongst those first questioned, but nothing about the meeting has been publicly released. In the early days of the investigation, police requested that property owners in Estill, Rockcastle, Jackson, and Madison counties check their land for any signs of the missing girl. They were told to pay close attention. Motherfucker. The Chungus among us. They were told to pay close attention to freshly turned earth and unusual smells, ditch lines, and remote areas, which proves to be a disturbing insight into the minds of police who almost certainly believe that she was already dead. Law enforcement officials and volunteers alike searched more than 16,000 acres of land, spread out over 3 Kentucky counties. For 3 weeks, large-scale searches were conducted in the Red Lick area and nearby Owsley Fork Lake. For 3 weeks, large-scale searches were conducted in the Red Lick area and nearby Owsley Fork Lake by police with sniffer dogs, who were aided by military cadets, volunteers on horseback. Dude, what the fuck? Why does a sentence need to be 9 sentences smashed together? Who were aided, military cadets, volunteers. Boomba binga. Oh my god. I fucking, like, sometimes it's like as I'm reading, my fucking nose just gets so clogged with dog shit. With literal dog feces. You're playing Cooking Diary? What's that? Laying in bed, chilling, reading comments. Nice. Same here. What if I recorded in my bed? That would be funny. I know, it does sound like I'm doing coke. But I just, like, feel like my fucking... It's, like, dry. It's winter. My fucking nose is filled with bullshit. Probably little elves crawling around in there. Am I doing crack? Can you snort crack? I don't think so. For 3 weeks, large-scale... Motherfucker. For 3 weeks, large-scale searches were conducted in the Red Lick area and nearby Owsley Fork Lake by police with sniffer dogs who were aided by military cadets and volunteers on horseback. A team of highly trained police divers were also called in to help search in a few large bodies of water, but still nothing was found. A month into the investigation, a fundraiser was held by Brooklyn's family to help fund a cash reward for whoever could find their daughter. On top of that, a local body shop began selling $5 car detail. Motherfucker. Of a humidifier. I don't. Does a humidifier make a bunch of fucking noise? Because if it does, that would suck for reading. But I guess I could do it beforehand. You can snort anything that will fit. That's true. Pixie dust. Gatorade mix. vapor rub. That'd be kind of smart, actually. On top of that, a local body shop began selling $5 car decals, with all proceeds going to the reward fund, but still there was no luck finding her. So in July of 2013, as painful as it was to make the decision, the county sheriff declared that all foot searches for Brooklyn were to be called off. God damn it, dude. 1 second. Oh my god. I don't know why the really fucking long ass stories are like get me. Like they're fine and I like this one, but yeah, I'm just like I just want it to fucking like go smoothly, but it's not smoothly. It's not smoothly going. Joel wanted it to go smoothly, but it was not smoothly going at all. On top of that, a local body shop began selling $5 car decals, with all proceeds going to the reward fund, but still there was no luck finding her. So in July of 2013, as painful as it was to make the decision, the county sheriff declared that all foot searches for Why does that sound weird? Foot searches? Aside from the fact that most of you guys would probably be into that, like, why is it? I don't get it. It sounds weird. It's hard to say. So in July of 2013, as painful as it was to make the decision, the county sheriff declared that all foot searches for Brooklyn were to be called off. And although they wouldn't come out and day it, ah! Well, it's like little fucking spelling errors. Just, I'm like, yeah, here we go, I'm on a roll. No, I'm not. And although they wouldn't come out and say it, the police had all but given up on finding her, dead or alive. The investigation and media coverages of the event shifted dramatically when a number of scandals began to severely hamper the efforts to find Brooklyn. Son of a bitch, man. I'm just not there for this story right now. Just not feeling it. The investigation and media coverage of the event shifted. One more try here. Let's go. Let's go, baby. The investigation and media coverage of the event shifted. I wish I could just fucking edit it on the fly. Like, I shouldn't even. God fucking damn it. It's so annoying. I've never made this many mistakes in a fucking row. The investigation and media coverage of the event shifted dramatically when a number of scandals began to severely hamper the efforts to find Brooklyn. A local woman named Amanda Griffey openly admitted to scamming those who wished to donate money to the search. When a number of concerned neighbors were going door to door seeking contributions, Amanda joined them, but all the money she received was funneled into her own private bank account. Amanda only stole a measly $40, but to the local community, it might as well have been $1 million. Their outrage knew no bounds, and Amanda was shunned by all who knew her after she was arrested for theft of identity of another and theft by deception. But shockingly, it was not the only case of someone exploiting Brooklyn's disappearance. Another person, this one aptly named Randy Gross, was also arrested for scamming coworkers out of money, telling them he was collecting for the Find Brooklyn Fund, yet simply padding out his own account. Brooklyn's parents tried to court the media's. Court the media's good balls. Someone else read for a little bit, man. I need a fucking break. Brooklyn's parents tried to court the media's good graces again, throwing a benefit at the Madison County Fairgrounds, which featured a car show in honor of Brooklyn's passion for them, a silent auction, and live music. But the scandal had soured the public's affection for the couple's cause. Oh my god, dude. But the scandal had soured the public's affection for the couple's cause, and never again could they get the kind of natural... Alright, I'm taking my shirt off. God damn it. It's fucking hot. It's fucking annoying. My nose is filled with dog poop. Holy fuck. Joel's smoking OG cookies. Brooklyn's parents tried to court the media's good graces again, throwing a benefit at the Madison County Fairgrounds, which featured a car show in honor of Brooklyn's passion for them, a silent auction, and live music. But the scandal had soured the public's affection for the couple's cause, and never again could they get the kind of national attention they needed to make any real progress. Then, in April of 2015, a man scouring the Kentucky backwoods for mushrooms discovered a set of skeletal remains. The police braced themselves for a DNA sample to come back which confirmed that it was Brooklyn. But it wasn't her, and her family was filled with hope again that she might just turn up alive. The Virginia Commonwealth Attorney's Office have confirmed their continued interest in the case and are in constant contact with the investigators. They claim that a dedicated team have followed countless tips and examined the case files for things that might have been missed or overlooked during the initial investigation, and they say all tips continue to be followed up on. But despite their best efforts, the case of Brooklyn's disappearance remains open and active. Perhaps the most terrifying thing is that police seem to believe that someone in the local community has information as to what happened to Brooklyn, that whoever made her vanish might actually still be living amongst them. But even with a $14,000 reward being offered for information leading to her return, or the capture and conviction of those responsible for her disappearance, police are still no closer to getting any definitive answers. No answers, but plenty of theories, most of which revolve around the idea that Brooklyn was kidnapped sometime after 4 a.m. She was not depressed, and according to her family, had no reason to run away or walk out of her life. Antonio, you live in Kentucky. Have you ever heard this story before, coming out of Kentucky? She was not depressed, and according to her family, had no reason to run away or walk out on her life. In their eyes, the only reason she could now be missing is if someone had actually taken her. Police have talked publicly of their deep suspicion that the final test sent to her ex... Test? Oh my god. Police have talked publicly of their deep suspicion that the final text sent to her ex, the one that mentioned the party in Rockcastle County, was faked and sent by someone else. And that since her belongings have her... Oh my god. And since her belongings... What? And since... What? And that since her belongings, her left at the Dillon Court, it must have been the place. Her left? Were left? I don't fucking know. And that since her belongings were left at the Dillon Court. Okay, I think that's what it says. I don't know, I'm so annoyed. Oh, okay. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Shake the house. Shake the house. Fuck Carrie with another 50 Canadian maple syrup stripping wet dollars. Joel, are you the youngest to boys or girls? P.S. As a healthcare worker myself, thank you, Carrie. Yeah, I am the youngest of 3 boys. So, we like to wrestle or something. I don't know. They were a lot older. They didn't get along with each other very well growing up, but I guess I was always the baby, so even though I got picked on, I still, like, there was a degree of mercy shown on me since I was, like, half their size most of the time. But thank you, Carrie. Thank you for the 50, and thank you for your service as a healthcare worker. I appreciate that. Naked wrestling. Shut up. Shut up, Liz. That's creepy. You're creepy. Okay, and that since her belongings were left at the Dillon courthouse. Okay. And since her belongings were left at the Dillon courthouse, it must have been the place she was taken from. But whether or not the homeowner has anything to do with it is an entirely different question. He did indeed leave Brooklyn alone. He did indeed leave Brooklyn alone, in the dark, in a home with no power or water. But does that mean that he called someone in to kidnap her, in an effort to detach himself from the crime? Or did a gang of savage predators get lucky enough to barge their way into a house with no burglar alarm, with a loan? With a loan? Oh. Oh my god. Sometimes, like, the sentence structure just, like, fucks with me. Get a fart mic. Just like a button I press for the fart noises. I think that's what the stream really needs to really amp things up a bit. Or did a gang of savage predators get lucky enough to barge their way into a house with no burglar alarm, with a lone intoxicated female trying to sleep in an upstairs bedroom? Only the full results of the police investigation will be able to tell us that. In the years following Brooklyn's disappearance from that Kentucky house party, Tasha feels she needs to be the voice for her sister and, as such, has taken part in numerous interviews regarding her disappearance. She has taken numerous steps to keep her sister's name in the public eye, in the hopes someone will see the coverage and come forward with information. Currently, her case is classified as endangered missing, and she is yet to be declared legally dead, but it is only a matter of time before the clock runs out, and we have to assume the worst. That through malice or misfortune, Brooklyn Farthing went to a house party one evening and never came home. Oh my god. Joel, you're gonna wake up the real weirdos of the comments I'm trying to save now. Believe me, the weirdos, I am one of them. We're all weird here.
Hey,
Down
listen.
here in the Buttersock Pit. A gathering of the cult. Hitman, the Trash Panda with the 5 says, thanks for the great content, bro. Thank you, Hitman. Stay out of my trash. Thank you. Lila says, I watched a Twitch streamer and he has a fart mic he uses specifically to fart into. The very first time he used it, he accidentally shit his pants. Jesus Christ, that's hilarious. You'll have to send me that clip. Now he's a viral sensation. Day Perry, you wish you were a cat? Do you wish you were an outside cat or an indoors cat? Because I almost feel like I'd want to be an outside cat where I could, like, wander around and do shit. Hitman the Trash Panda has become a member of the Buttersock cult and a full-grown pizza. Welcome, welcome. Everybody say hello to Hitman. Alright, my friends. Last story of the night, and this one's really, really short compared to the last one. But as we'll be finishing out the 9 stories. Ticks versus mosquitoes. I'll take mosquitoes over ticks any day. Fuck ticks. Granted, mosquitoes can carry probably deadlier diseases, but God, I hate ticks so fucking much. I hate ticks. I hate ticks. I have dreams about ticks. I fucking hate them. I went to this one house party when I was a student that definitely ended up being a night to remember, but all for the wrong reasons. And I have to hold my hands up here and say it was 100% partly my fault that this even happened. Me and a few friends decided it would be a fun thing to do a sit outside the actual house it was happening and give the finger to any cars who drove past. Most of the time, nothing would happen, but occasionally we'd get a beep and the driver would flip us off back, which made us cheer the car in approval. But this one driver sees us giving him the finger and slams on the brakes. We have this proper uh-oh moment as we see him bent over in the driver's seat, reaching for something either in the footwell or underneath the seat. The next time we see his face, he's wearing a mask, and we watch as he gets out of his car, walks around to the boot, and takes out a hammer from it. At this point, we bail back inside the house, running upstairs to just hide in one of the bedrooms. We don't even get to the bedrooms before we hear smashing glass from downstairs. This guy just went completely mental on all the windows and the door. I was convinced he was going to break his way in and smash our heads in with that hammer, but I think he just drove off before the police could arrive. Lesson learned. Don't flip off random people because you risk finding that one person who's had a bad day and drives around with a mask and a hammer in the car. Athena, this is still going. We are. And we are just at the end here as well. And Vegas Miri has become a full-grown pizza and a member of the Buttersock Cult. Welcome, welcome. Thank you guys for the memberships and welcome. And I do hope to provide something additional for members here in the future for like a once a month membership only creepypasta. Hopefully there'll be like lengthy sized creepypastas. I hope that sounds pretty sweet. And Garrett Wiseman with the 2 says, still haven't got the super chat sounds working. I do for those ones. I don't have it for the members though, but I do have it working for the hey listen. I don't know if you heard. I think people have been hearing it. Have you guys been hearing it tonight? Here, what if you hear it for this one from Sarcastic Unicorn with the 14 Canadian maple syrup does says, hey everyone, hope you're having all a great night. Here are some poutine dollars for you. Thank you. They're delicious. They're covered in gravy. I will gobble those down instantly. Thank you, thank you. Oh, man.
Hey, listen.
You could hear it. Okay, cool. I'm glad it's working. I don't really know how to get the membership sound working, because that's the one that says full-grown pizza. I used to say now it says mischievous dog, but it won't work, and I don't fucking know why. Because he has it set, I think, for subscribers. I'll have to ask him. I don't know if it's a Streamlabs OBS issue or what, but I'll have to ask his sweet booty about that. Alright, I'm going to read this outro. Hopefully you guys can think of something funny for me to add to it. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join a live stream to catch an invite to my Discord. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all these stories in long compilation form and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends, and remember, what should we say? Awa awa. Someone said I had to say an awa awa at the end. Maybe I'll just do that. What do you guys think about that? Awa awa. I'm just gonna do that. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, awa awa. Boom, we did it. Spinal. Oh, stay buttery, my friends, yes. Stay as slippy and slidey as you possibly can in this wet and wild world. so no one catches you slipping, because you're always slipping. But guys, thanks again for being here. Thank you again for your very, very kind, loving support and donations. I really appreciate that, and all your kind words and good attitudes. It's always been a lot of fun. Samantha with the 3. Thank you, Samantha, on the way out here. Awa, awa. I hope you guys have a good night. I'm going to get these edited for today, Friday's video. It's going to be out first on Patreon. It's just $1 a month on Patreon. Hopefully I'll increase I've been saying this for a while, but I really do see myself doing it here soon. A new tier on Patreon, and for members, $5 tier on Patreon, and the new members will have a big creepypasta to be narrated once a month, which I think would be fun to provide some additional content for people that support on those avenues. And yeah, otherwise that'll be out early access there, only $1 a month, and then get that out at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as normal. As you know, new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. What if you join VC? Unless doth my madam. I don't know. I was gonna try to talk medieval like for you there, but I can't. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, I might even join the VC here after this to do some editing in the Discord. Listen to you guys banter about stuff. It's always a good time. And yeah, love you guys. Appreciate ya. Follow me on social media. Follow my meme page at Horny Computer. It's a bunch of edgy jokes, so don't take offense if you're easily offended, because they're just jokes. All right. Anyways, love you. Take care. We'll see you soon. Give your kitty and or dog and or loved ones a nice big smooch on the lips for me. I appreciate it. And I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.